all the penalties, they don't make Nick Sirianni look very good as a head coach to start his tenure. Most penalties by the Eagles ever in the history of the franchise to start first 3 games. Not a good look for a young coach, their youngest coach since Dick Vermeil. The guy is, 40 years old. Not a good look so far. An undisciplined football team is bad. And, they're beating themselves. They did it again today. And,
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
We have a first, guys. We have a first on the live post-game show.
What would that be?
Here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, as well as 6abc.com. Our brother in ABC-ness, Jeff Skversky, joins us. Jeff, how are you, man?
What's up, guys? I'm trying to fix the camera. It's all I'm new to this, so.
No, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
You've never been on TV before? Is that it?
Clearly, I have never been on TV. Have you seen it?
Jeff, hey, man, you've been covering the Eagles for a long time, brother. This is a rough Eagles-Dallas game to take in, no doubt about it. Obviously, even on Monday Night Football, especially here. What did you make of this game tonight by the Eagles?
I kind of go back to even last week. I'm questioning a lot of the play calling and a lot of the decision-making by the head coach. And I hate to do it so early into his tenure and so early into the season. And I'm not a big guy at picking apart coaches, but I just don't understand really tonight. Look, I know you fall behind early, but your first 7 plays are all pass plays. And I know they want to try to take advantage of the Cowboys, who coming in struggled the first few games, giving up a lot of yards in the passing game. But to not give Miles Sanders the ball at all to start the game seemed a little strange to me. And then obviously it snowballed. And I don't want to blame that on this entire, game and why they lost. But it just seems a bit odd. And then the other big thing for me was, why did they not call a timeout?
The Cowboys, why did they call a timeout at the end of the first half?
I was taking off anything. Again, I'm new to this. I don't know what I'm doing.
It was Nick Sirianni hacking your system. Don't worry.
Yeah, the Eagles are trying to shut that down. No, so my other issue was on the Dak Prescott second touchdown. It was that 13-play drive, and the Eagles defense looked gassed. They looked slow. And I'm saying to myself, they have 3 timeouts in that position. Why not call a timeout here? It looks like the Cowboys were just beating them down. The Eagles' offense has barely been on the field. Call a timeout. They didn't do so. And that, to me, I was wondering, hey, why don't you just call a timeout just to kind of, get some composure and gather yourself?
See, the best way to slow down a team's momentum, especially when you're playing in their domain and it's their home opener after playing 2 rough road games, is to go to your strength offensively. This team was averaging 162 yards a game rushing in 2 games. Run the football. Try to control the clock. Don't play into Dallas's hands. They're already jacked up. They're on national TV. They're at home. They're against their most hated rival in the division. You played right into their hands and giving them the ball back. You have some momentum. Fletcher Cox, as I said, Fletcher Cox gets a touchdown. You shifted the momentum. Then you give it right back to them. They go down the field, score. There's a way to slow that back down again. Don't be so quick to give them the ball back, because, see, then they get the ball back again. The momentum's back on their side again. They're chewing up the Eagles up and down the field in the middle of their defense and their run game. Now, they average 129 yards rushing coming into the game. You had 162 yards rushing. You had a pretty good running game overall against a 49ers team.
But, Derek, a lot of that was Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts going into this game led the Eagles in rushing. So
I get that. But you have an electric player like a Miles Sanders. Swing pass, screen pass, I don't care what it is. Get the ball in this man's hands. He broke off one run for 24 yards. Is that not a red flag? Hello? Put the ball in this man's hands. Give him an opportunity to do something. Why are you playing into the opposite? You coach scared. Basically, you're coaching scared. When you fell behind, you're on national TV for the first time. Spotlight's on you. You've been an assistant your whole career. Now the spotlight is on you, and you failed to answer. It's only one game. It's week 3. I get it. But this is a big one. And as we know in this city, people judge you more harshly than we do in other cities. So he's going to hear about this all week. Now, he'll stand at the podium and tell, oh, no, I don't listen to the media. And as I tell you guys time and time again, when a player or a coach tells you, oh, I don't listen to what the media or the outside noise is, that's a flat-out lie. Because unless they listen to it themselves or they have somebody close to them that's always telling them what's being said, they always know exactly what's being said about them in a market. No question about it.
The only thing I can think of is why they don't go to the run early is, again, coming in, the Cowboys were the second worst in the NFL against the pass. Now, I know it's only 2 games in and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But, look, I agree with you, Derek. Why not get the ball to Miles Sanders, especially you have Andre Dillard in there at left tackle. He has struggled in camp against the pass. And you also have Landon Dickerson. Look, I don't know. We're not in those meeting rooms, but you fall behind. But again, after the Fletcher Cox situation, and he comes up with that touchdown, the 3rd of his career, why are you not going to the run there? And
exactly.
Try to also keep your defense off the field. And look what happened when you did give Miles Sanders the ball. He exploded, right? Yeah. And so, but for Miles Sanders to finish this game, and I know they're down by a lot, but to finish this game with only 2 carries,
embarrassment,
is insane. And at the half, they had only 5 rushes, the fewest in I think since like 2008 or 2009. I mean, and look, we always harp on why don't the Eagles run the ball, whether it was Doug Peterson or Chip Kelly or Andy Reid. I mean, this has been going on for years, but today seemed to really stand out.
Yeah.
Did he address that in the presser? I mean, I know you were probably just in there with Nick Sirianni. I'm assuming someone asked him about it.
It was the first question. Yeah, and so it was exactly the first question was, why did you not run the football a little bit more? And it was about Miles Sanders. Hey, why does Miles Sanders only have 2 rushes? Did the game dictate that? And, Sirianni kind of danced around it and kind of said, we have to be better there. But he did kind of say that the game dictated that to a point. And, I would disagree with that, especially to Derek's point, coming off that touchdown by Fletcher Cox. Why not run the ball on that following drive?
Yeah, I would disagree with that as well, strongly. It should be part of your game plan. Yeah, and I just think game plan wise going into this, knowing what you're going to be missing on your offensive line, I think the obvious thing to do is try to establish that rhythm, and you do that by running the football. You don't do that by pass. That doesn't establish an offensive rhythm overall, and it doesn't help out your offensive line. Jeff, no, you're around the team a lot, obviously, at the NovaCare complex. We could talk a lot about the Beat Dallas t-shirt, and we've mentioned it more than once already, but overall attitude being around these guys is leading up to this game. Did you feel like this was more than just having a puncher's chance against the Cowboys, or did you get a feel that this team still had a lot of work to do before they went down to Dallas?
My feeling coming into the game was that the Eagles are going to win this game, and that goes to show you how much I know. Absolutely zero. So I thought they were going to win this game. I really did. I just sensed confidence around this team. I sensed it from Nick Sirianni. And look, the last 2 weeks were not really, they were ugly. Let's not beat around the bush. They were ugly. And all the penalties, they don't make Nick Sirianni look very good as a head coach to start his tenure. Most penalties by the Eagles ever in the history of the franchise to start first 3 games. Not a good look for a young coach, their youngest coach since Dick Vermeil. The guy is 40 years old. Not a good look so far. An undisciplined football team is bad. And, they're beating themselves. They did it again today. And, maybe the issue is they look too good in the opener against Atlanta. Maybe they look too good and you're going, your expectations went from down here to all the way up here now. Perhaps.
I always worry about that, though. Whenever we win an early game, especially with a new team where we didn't know what to expect and everyone was all excited, I kind of in the back of my mind, I was pleasantly surprised, but was also like, oh no, we have a pretty tough schedule coming up. Is it just going to kind of crash from here? I do want to ask you on the same lines of coaching. I know we're talking about Nick Sirianni and his play calling, obviously, But what about Jonathan Gannon? Because our defense was, how do
Be
I say this
nice.
politely?
Be nice.
Trash.
There you go.
Horrible.
Now she's acting
Horrible?
like me now. She's getting more like D-Gun now.
But a lot of people have been applauding Gannon so far this season, and I want to get your thoughts on how he's been doing as defensive coordinator.
You know, when you go, I don't want to say pound for pound, but when you look at the Eagles defense versus the Cowboys offense, I mean, the Cowboys have explosive players. You look at, everyone talks about Ezekiel Elliott, but what about Pollard? You know, he came into the game as their leading rusher, believe it or not. So they have that two-back tandem. And then as the receivers, you can't match up with Lamb. I mean, you saw that on the second play of the game, the catch over Nelson. The Cowboys are on another planet, in my opinion, as far as offensively and the talent and the explosive players you have. So, look, it's early. I don't know what to expect from this Eagles defense. I like Slay in the corner. You know, he has the most pass deflections in the NFL since he came into the league. I like the Eagles defensive line. Linebackers is always an issue for me in Philadelphia since Jeremiah Trotter's been gone. How long was that? You know, since the Axeman's been gone. But you know, in the safety situation, remember, they don't have Rodney McLeod out there. He's still hurt, not ready to go with the knee injury coming off surgery. So I don't know. It's so early, and I hate to be one of these guys that just judges so early. I know that's what we do, but I feel like you have to give it time. You have to give it time, and you have a young quarterback, a young team, a young defense with an old defensive line, and I don't know. I don't know. My biggest issue was not calling the timeout on that drive when they just looked gassed. They looked slower and tired, and they just needed a break. And they had 3 timeouts to burn, and that would have been a good spot. That's really my only, I guess, criticism from what I saw just, you know, tonight.
Right. Jeff, great catching up with you, man. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully make a habit out of this and talk to you after a few more Eagles games throughout the season. Thanks for jumping on, my friend. Appreciate it.
Hey, great seeing you guys. What is that? Is that tequila behind you? You may need a little bit of that.
That's some fine stateside vodka, my friend. I can spare a bottle. I don't know if you can tell.
Hey, Jeff, 3 of those bottles are empty after tonight's game, dude.
Sounds about right.
I started with 9 bottles. Jeff, thank you so much, brother.
Great seeing you guys. Thanks
All
for
right,
having
man. Take care, dude.
Great seeing you as well. Jeff Skversky, sports anchor for 6 ABC, of course. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of stateside vodka, check out the scroll below and use code JAKIB, that's JAKIB, for 15% off a 1-liter bottle. Go to statesidevodka.com. There it is. There's the goods, folks. There's the goods. Statesidevodka.com. When we come back, we're going to head back to Dallas. John McMullen will be joining us to break down all the things that happened throughout the Nick Sirianni press conference, Jalen Hurts, and whatever was said in the locker room about this devastating Eagles Monday Night Football loss when we return on live post-game show.